On this episode of the People of Pearland podcast.
We're going into a different world.
See, for me, it was
Yeah.
TikTok.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't get.
Yeah.
And then I tried to do a TikTok, and that didn't work well at all. Looked really dumb. Stay tuned for more.
All right. And we're good.
We're recording.
Rolling.
We got Joe's our wiki DJ.
We do this thing. You can plug in like pre-recorded sounds,
Yeah.
and so we need to come up with a good theme song that we can just.
I have a theme song.
Oh, that's right.
I made the
Me
theme
too.
song.
That's right.
GarageBand. No. Did I do it in GarageBand? I did do it in GarageBand.
Yeah.
That was the time.
Fruity Loops.
Fruity Loops.
Do you
That was the
remember Fruity
time.
I don't remember that.
That's
Very
right.
similar. Right.
Huh. So copyright free
Yeah.
music, you just lay down beats and
Yeah.
I wanted to do something real funky. And
You did do something really funky.
I did. I'm sorry, yes. I did do a couple that were like, that's weird. And everybody was like, that's weird. So I did something a little bit more traditional, but wanted the podcast to feel, more official.
Yeah.
Well,
Super
Yeah.
official.
Start conservative at the beginning and then
Yeah.
wrap it up with something a little
Good
funky.
dad joke. Or, yeah. That's what I should do. Bing, chicken, bum.
There you go.
Like a little, like, so it's done. I have gotten feedback that people are like, it just stops. I'm like, we say bye. Like,
Yeah, we do. I guess we need a little outro tag
do,
or
yeah.
something. Okay.
we need to put
Yeah.
that on the machine, and then it like slowly builds.
There you go. Yeah.
We're still learning this
Well,
whole
it's
thing.
like
yeah.
the Oscars. Like, okay, it's time to stop talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like a walk-off music.
Yeah,
or, like,
playoff
playoff music. I guess we should actually start the
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah. No,
Okay.
I'm keeping all that.
No. Yeah. This is good. So welcome everybody to the next episode of the People of Pearland podcast. We're very excited today to have the infamous Paul Yates. Infamous is a bad word. You're just regular famous.
There may be some truth to that.
No.
We'll leave that for later.
The secretive,
Yeah.
the mysterious Paul Yates.
There you go.
From our information technologies department. What's your official title? You're the cybersecurity czar.
We can go with cybersecurity dude. We can go with cybersecurity guy. It's a lot of syllables. Cyber risk and intelligence specialist does not fit on a business card.
Wow.
No, cyber risk and intelligence. So a Chris, if we want to acronym it, because we're government people.
That sounds good.
Huh,
I mean, we're
Chris.
good with acronyms and
Yeah.
abbreviations in
Yeah.
IT.
I mean that sounds like official. Like you could put that on a shirt.
It is.
You're the Chris expert.
It's probably a certification too. You can just put it after your name.
Yeah,
right,
Chris,
yeah.
what's that? It's certification.
I can't tell you about
Yeah.
that.
Self-proclaimed.
It's super secret.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm a self-proclaimed Chris.
It took a lot of years to get that.
So how does one even get to that?
How
that's-
how does one secure the cyber?
Yeah.
It is a journey. It's definitely not a destination. I don't know. I mean, you're looking at a infrastructure organization that's so big, right? Pearland's grown so much, and the things that tech touches now, it makes what it looked like when I started look silly. So it's very diverse and really looking at how do I keep it secure? When I say how do we keep it secure? And but let the business go,
Yeah.
because I can make it really secure and you can't do anything
Right.
and you're safe,
Yeah, but you can't do
but
anything.
you can't do anything.
Right.
Which is frustrating for the
Right.
900 employees that
So-
work here.
So it's a balance, right? If we don't, then you can't do cool stuff
Yeah.
and I can't do cool stuff.
Right.
So-
Well, I mean, obviously you think about cybersecurity this is your focus and I can imagine that because I never think about it until I click on something. I'm like, oh, dang.
Yeah.
Like literally I clicked on a thing one time that was clearly a phishing email, but it freaked me out because it was about photography usage. And it was from a photographer that said, hey, you're using one of our photos. We're going to sue you. And I was like, and it
Right.
scared me. And there was a link. It was like, click on this to see which photo. And I clicked on it, and immediately I was like, that was the wrong choice. Like, like they got me
Right.
because it was so sophisticated.
Right.
And of course, I immediately shut everything down, and I called Paul, and I'm like, hey, Paul. So I did a thing. And fortunately, you were very patient with me. And I think you had to rebuild my entire machine, if I remember correctly. Like, I wasn't on the network, which was good,
Yeah.
but still terrifying experience. And like, I consider myself pretty savvy.
Sure.
And still, like, it's one of those, like, it could happen to
Right.
anybody. That was a waking moment for me, for sure.
Yeah, and like you said, you don't think about it, and I think that's part of the gig, is to get you to think about it just a little bit, even if it's not so much, is this secure, is this not secure? Who cares, right? That's just to get you to slow down. Like, does this make sense?
Take a second. Yeah,
Right,
right.
and-
right. It's a common sense play more than anything.
A lot of it is, not all of it, but a lot of it is. And if you think, okay, like 3 things with phishing, or 2 or 3 things would be, are they making me think that this is urgent?
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, now I need to stop and think. Does this seem odd, out of place? Okay, now I really need to slow down. So just little things like that, just to help someone decide if this makes sense, and if it's questionable, well, then just ask.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of people forward emails to IT, and they'll say, "Is this for real?"
Yeah.
And a lot of times it is real, and sometimes it's like, no, it's not. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Send them. I'd rather have people send them than not.
That's
And
what
then I
I
got
do
to
now.
clean up a big mess
Yep,
later.
yep.
Yeah.
So, if you look at the news, Dallas just got hit last month before. I think
And
Fort
do you know
Worth
what it
did.
affected?
Dallas, it was pretty impactful. I know they were without most of their services for at least a week. Their court system was down 2 or more weeks. Impacted their dispatch, a lot of their public safety stuff.
Right. And when you say down, so like, all right, so somebody clicks on something or downloads something or whatever, and the attacker on the opposite end of that, right? They've created a piece of software or code that gets into the system, downloads something malicious, and then blocks access from servers or websites, or any number. How does that work? Do you know?
Well, we'll
Or
just
how much can you divulge here?
right. Yeah,
Right,
no.
yeah.
So I know Dallas was a case of ransomware.
Hmm.
Right now, how I got in, I don't know.
Yeah.
May never know.
Yeah.
But I got in. Let's say it came in through an email. Someone clicked on something, whatever. And that probably happened months ago. There's a good possibility.
And it's just sitting dormant or jumping from.
Well, so I'll be the bad guy for a minute. So
Sure.
I'm going to send you an email, and you click on it and whatever. Okay, now I got a foothold. Now what I'm going to try to do is, I'm gonna say, okay, how far can I move?
Hmm.
So I'm going to move laterally. I'm going to move east to west, is what we say. So I'm going to move laterally. How many things can I get? Can I escalate my privileges? Okay, you only have rights to ABC,
Mm-hmm.
but if I can bump that up, or if I can steal someone else's,
Hmm.
and I keep moving. So it's become a business, right? So we all hear about software as a service. We hear about platform everything's as a service now.
Right.
Well, there's ransomware as a service.
What?
Yeah, it's all.
You can just buy it.
Yeah, you want to? You got your P card? No, I'm just.
No,
I'm
no.
kidding. No.
Pretty sure that's not approved practice.
Scratch that. Okay.
Explain that to finance.
Yeah, I know, right? No.
Take that part of the conversation out.
So yes, you can buy it anyway. So it's a
Wow.
big business model. So I'm going to go as far as I can go, get as many things as I can, so that I can judge how much I'm going to charge you
Hmm.
to decrypt your stuff.
Yeah.
So now, all right, now I'm going to spread. Now I'm going to wait. And once I think I've got, my fingers into everything, or as much as I want.
Enough that's valuable for somebody to want to pay the ransom.
Correct.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to push the button. Now everything happens all at once. It all
Wow.
explodes at once. And now you're having you've gone from having a bad day,
Right.
because it's just your computer.
Yeah.
Now we're all having a really bad day,
Right.
Because now it's everybody's.
I've heard of like there are cities that I know of where they were attacked but refused to pay the ransom.
Yep.
And took them a year and a half to get back to whole.
Mm-hmm.
And they never fully recovered what they had before. I mean, in some ways, it's kind of a hard refresh. We get to build it the way we want now.
Right.
Yes.
But the pain of going through that is just
I mean, all the way down to
terrifying.
finding your logo again. Like, I've
Right.
heard, yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
How do you get art files if everything's locked down?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's one of those things that I hope people are becoming more aware,
Mhm.
but for the longest time, it's like I've often thought we're exchanging security for convenience,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So, having our cars connected and having connected devices that can tell us the weather or when our Amazon package is going to be
Right.
delivered, right? Each of those things creates a convenience that we haven't had before,
Right.
but there's a risk associated with it.
Right.
Right.
I mean, some of it's security, right?
Right.
Some of it's privacy.
Right.
And I know those
But those
lines
go
kind
hand
of
in
blur
hand, right?
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to go back. You said, this is different than when you started. How long have you been in IT?
I started with Pearland part-time 1998. I was 21. So I grew up right outside of Pearland, went to Pearland schools.
Wait, where'd you grow up? Sorry, I don't want to get too
Right
personal.
outside the ET, well, in the ETJ,
But which area of the ETJ? In the
towards Manville, towards,
okay.
there's a development going on right now, Massey Oaks.
yeah.
Kind of across the street from Massey
Okay,
Oaks.
gotcha.
So out there, yeah.
So I was just to the east of you. So I grew
Okay.
up Friendswood mailing address.
Yeah.
Went to Pearland schools.
Okay.
Over by Cloverfield Airport.
Okay.
So
No, it's not too far away.
yeah, we were probably driving around in the field
We
out there.
yeah, may have been.
I mean, we didn't do that.
No, never. But no, so graduated from Pearland schools.
Well, you
know,
graduated from Pearland High School
I did
in '98.
95.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm old.
No.
I mean, I feel like
you don't
it. Some
look
days I
old.
feel.
You're about my sister's age. She graduated in '97,
Okay.
and then I graduated in 2001. So
Okay.
I've been there like right after you.
Yeah. So I was gonna get. So I got to go to college. So we're going to college. All right, I'm leaving Pearland. I'm never coming back. So I was studying chemistry, and I was at some point I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore.
I could see you wearing the lab coat though.
I was sporting it.
Yeah.
for
The
real.
short
It worked.
one, you get
It
the
worked.
like.
No.
Got the big
It was like
safety
get down
goggles.
like knee high, just like that. Yeah, it was good. It was the big goggles too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for real.
Scientist Paul.
I know. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna be. Like, part of me thought I was gonna be a teacher.
Okay.
Like, now that's like a weird occupation, but
Professor Paul.
Professor
Right.
Paul.
I could see you doing that. I feel like your sense of humor lends itself really well to an education. I mean, I've seen you do trainings.
Yeah.
And you're probably one of the funniest people, one of the most entertaining presenters that we have.
And it's thank you. It's kind of on purpose, right?
Yeah.
Because
You got to be engaging.
right, I got to be engaging. I'm talking about something most people don't. Meh.
Right.
That's an IT problem.
Yeah.
No, man, it's your problem
everybody's
too.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So
I was like,
Science.
I don't want to be a chemist anymore. So came back to Pearland. I'm like, well, I got to do something while I figure out what I want to do. And someone was like, hey, obviously the org was a lot different. We're like, hey, there's a computer gig at Pearland. I'm like, okay, whatever. I need something to do while
Right.
I figure out what I'm going to do. So I remember filling out the application, which was on paper. We're aging ourselves again, right?
and John Knight was probably already here.
He was here. I think he'd been 7 years before.
Jeez.
Yeah, so
Wow.
yeah, something like that. Anyway, I remember walking up. HR was on the second floor, and I went in and I handed the application, and she said, "Oh, that closed yesterday."
No.
And I said, "Okay, well, they told me to come today, so whatever." Oh, I'm 21. What, you know,
Yeah,
I
what
mean,
do you-
like,
yeah.
what's important to me at 21? I mean, who knows? And so anyway, ultimately they called back, and I remember sitting in an interview with HR and John Knight, and then they're like, "Hey, come on back." Okay, thanks. And so when it was just John and I for the longest time.
What?
Yeah, that was it.
That was it. That was
That was the
entire
IT
team.
department.
That was IT department.
holy
Whoa.
moly.
There was a gentleman over at PD, but he was like, you know, absorbed into PD. He wasn't IT.
Right.
And eventually we absorbed him, and we got one more. And you know,
And what were you doing back? I mean, like obviously they had computers, but were y'all like running network cable?
there
or,
was
like,
no network. I mean, there really wasn't, right?
no
So
centralized
this is-
server. There's no like.
The closest thing you had, and I don't know if anybody here remembers HTE.
Yeah.
Okay, you do? Okay, it was HTE. That was it. It was one AS400,
Whoa.
and everything ran back to it. So if you wanted internet, you had a dial-up modem. Everybody had
Oh my
a modem, right? That's the sound you need. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah, right, yeah, exactly. So everybody had a modem. There was no email. There was no ci.pearland email address. There was
Right.
a pearland.gov email. It was like, you know, Josh Lee at,
AOL.
yeah, whatever, whoever the provider was at the time, right?
Yeah,
So it was,
SWBC.
Right.
yeah. So it's been a cool experience, right? To like kind of build things up from almost nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now
I
look
mean,
at,
you've seen the whole internet. Like
Right.
you've seen
Yeah.
cyber threats from the very beginning.
yeah, we had
Same now.
some pretty interesting ones. I mean, as we built out, we built the first network for Pearland, and we had some that ground the network to a halt. It was really weird. So today we have fiber running between every building, right?
Mm.
So if something was going on from a speed perspective, you probably wouldn't even notice.
Mhm.
But then back then, at one point, we had it looked like satellite dishes, right? Yeah. So John and I probably did a lot of stuff we shouldn't probably wouldn't be doing today, right? You probably need more insurance, right? So there were
Well, it was a different
dishes.
town, different
Yeah.
90s, man.
Yeah.
For
that's
real, right? Yeah. OSHA, what? No, not here. Risk management, what? Yeah.
Still to this day, and I mean, this I probably shouldn't admit, but we whatever it takes to get the job done, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like safety second, kind
I
of
know,
a
We've
yeah,
done some of
for
that
real.
stuff.
in there like once or twice, somebody come up and like that's not a good idea. Well, we gotta get this. I gotta do the thing. Like this is the choice that I have, and so I do pride our organization on being scrappy.
Yes.
Maybe it's the right word.
Yeah,
know?
that's
in a
fair.
good way.
In a
good
good
way,
way,
yeah.
right? Yeah, we're not reckless,
Right.
It's always there's a direction that we're going, and especially back then, like you had to bootstrap it.
Yeah.
What,
Well,
what
I
else are you
mean,
gonna
for
do?
real.
I assume there wasn't many playbooks on how to get. I don't know. I mean, it feels fresh back then.
Well, I mean, it was. I mean,
Yeah.
like the internet was just becoming what it is now,
Yeah.
right? It was evolving. I mean, before that, it was all universities. I mean,
Yep. Yep.
what did I use at Stephen F. Austin? Like Pine Mail or something? And it was like I don't even think it had a GUI, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it did. I can't remember. But yeah, everything was kind of learning on your own
Yeah.
to a degree. I mean, big places had some in place, and maybe you could glean something from them.
Yeah,
But then you didn't have the resources that they did,
Right.
right?
right.
So we've been real lucky to be able to build up to where we are now.
So when would you say was like the curve as far as the old days to like, okay, we're moving to something really different here for the city?
Oh, wow. What year did we build the rec center?
Oh,
08.
08.
Yeah. So right after, sometime after Ike.
Mm.
08. Ike stands out for me just because of what happened here and in general.
Yeah. So for those listening, if you don't follow your Pearland history that closely, in Ike, the roof of City Hall was torn off.
It was hanging off the side.
Yeah,
Wow.
because there
Portion.
was like 80-mile-an-hour sustained winds for 8 hours straight or something like that.
Yeah, that was a real trip to like. They stationed us at I guess Turner High School or the junior high next to it or whatever it is, and because we didn't have a real the EOC we had wouldn't have sustained
because
the winds.
The public safety building
that was
wasn't a
after.
thing.
Yeah, that was like 2 years after.
So PD would have been in old
PD, fire admin,
and so you're at Turner, or somewhere there,
ninth grade center back then.
Ninth grade center, yep. The roof comes off of City Hall, and then the whole City Hall gets flooded, right?
Yeah, that was crazy. That was really crazy. I mean,
I've heard John tell me about, like, he was over here literally moving servers. Were you?
Yeah. So
that's so wild.
He left Turner like as soon as the winds died down.
You just got a phone call like, "Hey."
He came back and picked me up, and I don't know if we had a woman, Teresa, that worked with us at the time. And I don't know if she came for that initial trip, but he said, "Hey, we got to go." Mm-hmm. So we drove back over here, and as we drive up, you see it's like this. It looked like a big flap. That was the roof. It was just hanging over one side. I'm like, well, that's not good. And we walked in. I don't remember what door we walked in, but water was cascading down the stairs.
Oh my gosh!
Walked into the council chamber, and it kind of slopes down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Below my knee, standing in water. Everything. All our servers were here at City Hall at the time, and actually just across the way from us here on the first floor.
Yeah.
And they were all still on. I'm like, well, this is cool. At least they're still on, but water's dripping down and there's water on the floor. And I'm like, well, this is probably not safe, right?
Yeah.
How do we turn this off and not get electrocuted? And, we managed. And anyway, I think we probably did 24 hours straight before we went home. Like, okay, I'm going home and I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
Take a shower. Actually, I think I went to my parents, got my dogs. Like, okay, come on, I'm going to sleep. And just,
Yeah.
So,
goodness gracious.
Yeah, it was something I don't want to do again.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm looking for land out west. If you have any tips.
Yeah, you have to go far west now. It's very expensive.
Oh, I
know. So, I mean, I guess there was quite a bit of rebuilding after that. And that was 2008.
That was 8.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, that is getting to a turning point of, like, technology.
Right.
Because I'm thinking about, 2008 for me was probably about the time that I started in, like, digital advertising, where we were getting, like, cool technologies on how to track people and how to retarget, and the search engines were really coming into their own, and you're starting to see the proliferation of content. Web content was really exploding by that point, and things were moving to starting to move to cloud-based solutions. So that's fascinating timing, because then I guess y'all had to rebuild all the servers and all the infrastructure here coming out of Ike.
Yeah, we did. So we relocated people everywhere. A lot of staff ended up next door in the annex.
Because it was fine, right?
It did have some roof damage, but nothing like City Hall.
Yeah.
And so
I've never seen pictures of that. I want to know somewhere.
I'm sure there's floating
there's got to be something.
So thankfully we were exceedingly lucky, right? All the server infrastructure was fine. So at the time it was in 3 8-foot cabinets. We just rolled down the sidewalk, ta-tunk, hitting every space between concrete slabs.
They were built differently back then.
Well, no, it's still kind of scary because back then, hard drives were spinning discs, and it was like,
disc,
okay, well, what's going to turn back on now?
Right.
It's like, go slow over that one, or maybe go really fast. I don't know. So we made it, and I know, but we made it. We ran. This was us, the 3 of us at the time. We ran network cables everywhere, and we did a lot of that work in house at the time. And
we still do quite a bit in house. I feel like
we do. Maybe net cable stuff, but a lot of your tech stuff is all in house. IT does much of it now.
Yeah,
we got a really talented group.
Yeah.
And a bigger group too. How many people?
Yeah, what's the group now?
It's 18.
I'm going to count GIS because they're
I think they're part of it.
they're our brothers,
Yeah.
brothers and sisters. We're 21 today,
Wow.
so
Which still feels very lean for an organization of 900 people.
yeah. There's
And that's not a knock. That's to say y'all do a lot. I mean, there's a lot of real talent up there.
yeah. So we're all spread around quite a bit. I mean, paper says cybersecurity for me, and that is a huge part of it. It's not exclusive.
Right.
I mean, you've seen me, run around. We're dealing with ERP, dealing with, AMI, whatever. So
Yeah, the strategic
strategic plan.
plan.
Yeah.
You did a ton of work on that one.
Yeah.
That was a fun process too. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Is that something you volunteered for, or I mean, it just fits naturally in your wheelhouse, or
A
is
little,
it a bandwidth thing?
no, I don't know if I have any bandwidth. I would say a little of both. I'd say one of the advantages for me, having started when I did and gone through all the iterations that I have, not only just for those kind of projects, but also the cyber side of the house, just being exposed to so many different things.
You're right.
So like piecing together a bigger picture of how things put together. So if when something goes wrong, cyber or not, it helps to tell the story better.
When you have your eye on that landscape, it's easier to put it into perspective than somebody that is acutely focused on
Right.
the cyber aspect of it, or whatever the case may be.
I know a lot of universities now, they offer cybersecurity degrees and whatnot. And I'm sure they have good programs. I'm not going back to school because I don't really want to take out any loans or anything like that. But
Same. Yep.
I feel like, and again, not a knock on any program, but I feel like the more you're exposed to outside of school, you have this more holistic view of things,
Right.
whether that's network,
Yeah.
systems, applications,
Yeah.
whatnot. So now when if you have an event, it's easier to piece it all together.
Real world experience.
Yeah.
I share sort of so different experience with similar context. A few years ago, there was a professor at the University of Houston, and she invited me to come to speak to her master's students. They're getting a master's degree in communications. I do not have a master's degree. I got my bachelor's degree in radio and television from Sam Houston State University. It's a Bachelor of Fine Arts, so I didn't have to take foreign language. So
similar.
I'm going to visit with these master's students, and I was genuinely intimidated because I'm like, what can I offer to these bright young adults? And so I didn't prepare anything because I wanted to give them a little bit of my sort of trajectory, and then let them ask questions and try to make it useful for them. And so we talked a little bit, and then we got to the questions, and the first person raised their hand, and she said, how do you get a job? And I was like, what? Like, I mean, if you can get a master's degree, you can get a job, especially in marketing communications, where if you can learn how to market stuff, you can learn how to market yourself.
Sure.
But it's that difference of, not to knock education. I think education is extremely important.
Sure.
But in some ways, similarly, in communications and marketing, setting up a 3-point lighting scenario like we have, learning about it in theory and practicing it, two wildly different things.
I believe it.
Right?
Yep.
I totally
And
believe it.
I would think that IT, very similar. Until you experience it in a real life situation, it's just theory.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, I'm sure there are other industries that are like that, but your real life experience far outweighs any education that you think
right.
of.
Even outside of formal education, I mean,
Right.
even just reading about it, right?
Right.
I mean, whether you like physical books, which I still do, or you just, how do I do
You can't
something?
hack a physical book.
You might be able
to.
to.
The paper. There's probably a way. But, let's read about how to do something, and until you do it.
Yeah.
I mean, YouTube's great, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
How did you learn how to push that cart down? I watched YouTube video,
Right.
right?
But at some point, you're gonna have to do it. Like,
Right.
Yes, you have to do it. And doing it, having someone just tell you.
yeah. And I think that applies to anything technology related, right? Because it's progressing so quickly, you have to be in it, whether in IT or comms or media or anything like that. You got to keep up with those trends, and I feel like you have to be in the world to be able to.
Yeah, and I think that in a lot of ways, the information that we have access to now, the speed of the information that we have, the volume of information, to be able to Google anything, right, is in some ways inhibiting us, right? The ingenuity that my grandfather had to have to solve, like he couldn't, there was no YouTube.
Right.
He just figured it out. I told this story, I've told it a couple times, but when my dad and my uncle were probably in high school, they were in scouts. My grandfather was the scoutmaster or the assistant scoutmaster, whatever. 2 adults, my grandfather and one other guy. They were like, let's do a canoe trip. This is in the 70s. And so they did a multi-day canoe trip. They mapped it out. They just estimated how far they thought they could go on the river. Yeah. And so they hopped in these canoes, and the river turned out to be a lot slower. And the person that they were going to meet further down the river had already left, and they didn't have cell phones. They had no way of getting a hold of them. And they just went.
Yep.
And I'm like, like that gives me such anxiety, because how do you get in touch with anybody? So to add to that story, the person that dropped them off was the wife of one of the scoutmasters. She's driving back, gets in a car accident. She's in the hospital. Next day, they're going down the river, and they see this plane flying over the river, like up the river, and they see him dropping milk jugs into the water. And they're like, that's weird. So they pick up one of the milk jugs. Have I told you the story?
It's got notes in it, right?
It has notes in it.
No way.
For them.
Wow.
And the dude flying the plane was a neighbor of the scoutmaster and the wife that got in the accident. I'm not making this up. And the note's like, hey, your wife got in an accident. You need to get back.
Right.
So they pull over to the side of the river. The scoutmaster gets out. They're near a rice field. He climbs up, gets to the rice field, and finds somebody to drive him back to Houston, because they weren't super far. It was like an hour and a half. They were in out near, like, I think it's like Brenham or somewhere in there. And so drives back to Houston. Wife's fine, all that stuff. Well, he was in the boat for a day, so he knows the current is a lot slower than they originally anticipated. So he drives back out the next day to pick up the rest of the scouts at a different location. He just picked a bridge crossing that he thought they would probably cross. He has no way of getting a hold of them. Like, he just had to sit there and wait, and like, I don't know if they crossed yet. And they finally like came, and I'm just like, I don't even know how do you function like that?
No, those different times.
It's just, I mean, liberating, I guess. I don't know. It's so, in some ways, I think technology has helped us. In other ways,
right,
I think it's made us way too confident in our own.
Right.
Well, I mean, we're super dependent on it, right?
Right.
So, I mean, when it breaks, if it goes away for whatever reason, what do I do?
If it doesn't do the thing that we expected to do at the time, we get super frustrated.
Freak out.
I've always wondered what was going to be the thing that would make me feel old, like when cell phones came around for like our parent or something like that. I think it's the new Apple glass. Like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is we're going into a different world.
See, for me, it was TikTok. I was like, I don't get.
Yeah.
And then I tried to do a TikTok, and that didn't work well at all. It looked really dumb. When we got to the age of like Snapchat and TikTok, I was like, all done.
Does that fall in the same category as YouTube Shorts for you?
Yeah. So that's another thing. So this is like a slight, and I was listening to a TED Talk about this, about how generations are typically based on age ranges, decades you're born, when really they should be based on technological changes, because it's the ability to adapt to technology. And there's a generational change between just me and Joe, even though we're only 7-8 years different.
Right.
Like Joe's, how he consumes YouTube videos.
That's true.
And his ability to watch YouTube videos is way different than mine. Mine's very prescriptive. It's like, I need a thing.
Yeah.
YouTube, give me and he'll find fascinating content and go down a rabbit hole. So like, YouTube Shorts.
No,
like,
okay, fair enough.
from a marketing communications perspective, I can grasp it and I know how to leverage it for the community and for content and stuff like that. For me personally, I'm like, I don't get it.
No, not for you. Okay.
I want good old fashioned, like, I want a 2-minute commercial break that I gotta run and get a snack and then be back before the like I miss the thrill of like
there's no commercials.
Yeah.
No,
Every
Taco
time
Bell
we're in
dog.
the car and like my kids are like, "Can you skip this song?" I'm like, "No,
Nope. Sorry. Yeah.
it's the radio.
Yeah.
You have to let it wash over you and
Yeah.
embrace it." So I guess I'm probably a little stubborn.
We're just getting old.
That's 100% true.
It does happen.
I know.
I mean, it's just
I'm starting to embrace it.
yeah.
Like to be a little crotchety and.
Are you gonna be the get off my lawn guy?
Yeah. I yell at people.
Cool.
Speed down my street. Throw stuff at them. And because there's kids playing, man.
I know, for real. Yeah.
I have no patience for that.
Right.
I go around and like turn lights off. Like
I do
after
that, for
council
sure.
meetings, I tell the council members, I'm like, look, I'm not trying to kick you out. I have to turn these off because if I don't,
I do that when I
No.
leave. The conference room
Yeah.
upstairs,
oh yeah,
lights are always on. I'm like,
I
don't know why, but
Yeah.
both have to
Yeah.
go off.
what are we trying to do?
Then I
Light
can
up
go
the-
home. Yeah.
Not trying to air condition the whole outside. I'm fully embracing, and my team will probably attest to this, the like old man dad
Yeah.
life.
The dad jokes
I
are
just
real.
can't.
He lets them flow.
All the
yeah, I
time.
can't.
So
I
the
can't-
worst part was somebody got him a calendar that was a dad joke every day, and so we had to deal with it. I think that was
Screw you.
2020. Like
Debbie
yeah,
did that.
Yeah,
Debbie did that.
that was a rough
That's
year.
the best gift ever.
You can recycle that.
I
In a couple
know.
years, like,
I
hey,
know.
you heard this one?
So speaking of what does Paul do for fun? What's your favorite pastime? Hacking other companies? No, I'm just kidding.
I can't talk about that. Josh. I don't know. I'm working on new hobbies, right? Used to play a lot of tennis.
Really?
Yeah. Spent way too much time playing tennis.
Like competitively or just for fun?
Competitively. And I forgot how to have fun doing it.
Oh yeah.
So it's just like went down, and then I remembered how to have fun doing that, and then up I went. You know, right? So there was that. That being said, I don't think I've touched the sticks in probably 12, 15 years. I don't know. Just a lot of things with my son. He's really into fishing right now. So
How old is he?
12.
Okay.
So
I have a 12-year-old too. It's an age.
it is an age. And he's just like, starting to hit that teenage, preteen thing, and they're smarter than you, and you don't know anything.
Confident. He flinches every time. Like I can see the muscle in his face tighten every time I start to like dad-splain something, because he just doesn't think. He's not a dumb kid. Like I know he's smart,
right?
but then he does stuff, and I'm like, what was the plan here? Like, and he knows best.
Yeah.
Of course.
And I mean, I'm unfortunate in that. I mean, he is my child, and
y'all
unfortunately, he got my wife's brains, and so he has my sales tactics and my wife's intelligence, and so I can't keep up. I really do struggle to.
That's a great description. That's good.
Yeah. So hopefully your son is,
he
less exhausting than mine.
Oh,
I love my kids, by the way.
well, yes. It just depends on the
That's a
day.
given. Yeah. What does he do? So he's into fishing saltwater or freshwater?
Both. Every day is different. If he could go every day, he absolutely would.
That's cool.
And I think we should go bass fishing. I think we should go cat fishing, as he says. And can we get a boat? Can we get some kayaks? I'm like, hold on, one thing at a time.
Figure out this whole thing.
Yeah. But he's having fun with it. He's stuck with that longer than he's stuck with anything else.
That's good.
So that is good. Usually it's the flavor of the month, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that might be.
I'm not trying to pick on my son, but he is adamant right now that he's going to build a 1/12 scale model of an F-18 and make it an RC plane. But he's going to do it from scratch, styrofoam blocks, and he's adamant about it. And I'm like, I mean, you need a plan. Like I don't know how. And I appreciate, we walked into just a couple months ago, walking in the grocery store. I have a grocery list. I know what we're doing.
Right.
We're literally crossing the threshold in the store, and he goes, I'm going to bake an apple pie. And I was like, you don't even know how to.
Step one, man.
What? And frustratingly, he just like, I was like, all right, fine. Here's my phone. Find a recipe, and found a recipe, got the ingredients, and made a delicious apple pie.
Way.
I'm like, this is not how this is supposed to work.
That's awesome.
Somebody needs to bring this confidence level down a little bit. But we're getting into that stage where like he has that confidence, because they're like adults. I mean, they're like kids in adult bodies, like they're at that age. And I was no different at that age. And I didn't have the help of the internet to like give me that boost of confidence. I literally just had to do dumb stuff all the time until I figured out the right way to do it. But I think we're getting to that point where those natural consequences really kick in.
Mm-hmm.
And that exchange of like, I think I can do this. Oh no, I actually can't. Yeah. Maybe I do need help with it.
Right.
Hopefully we get those things.
Yeah.
So do you like fishing too, or how'd your son get into it?
I mean, I would fish some with my father growing up. Definitely not every day. What got him into this? I mean, his grandfather and his uncle, huge sportsmen, right? In Louisiana, they live and breathe it, right?
Cool.
So there's probably some influence there. I mean, I'm just happy he's outside.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he likes video games, right? I mean,
sure.
And that's cool. I mean, it's fine, but
she doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
Aw, there's some good ones.
There are some.
Are you a movie guy? You like?
I know this is kind of like Office Space right now.
Right.
Y'all are like the Bobs.
Yeah.
What is it you would say you do here?
I was gonna ask you what's your favorite? Maybe not favorite. What's your favorite hacking scene in a movie?
Oh, they're all so bad.
They are all so bad.
They're all so bad. I'm just gonna like sit there and hit the keyboard, and some stuff's gonna go flying across the screen.
Execute.
We've launched the missiles. Oh my god!
Have you ever seen that site where you just type randomly and it writes out like fake code?
Yeah,
that's my favorite. It's so good.
So Matthew Broderick War Games, that was good. That was a classic. I like that one a lot.
What was that one with John Travolta?
Swordfish.
Yeah. Oh, what was it? That goatee, man.
This like weird part.
yeah, John Travolta.
Oh man,
what was another good one? There's one I'd like to see just to see how good or bad it might be. It was Harrison Ford. It was called Firewall.
I remember that.
Was it any
good?
It was
bad.
That's right. Yeah. He works at a bank.
Something like that. Yeah.
And it was like right around 2008, like right around. They're like, we're gonna name this movie Firewall.
And then what was Die Hard? Like Die Hard 4.
Yeah, where he deletes his pension.
Deletes his pension. Yeah. He turns all the lights off or red or something. I don't remember. Yeah, that was
the one with Samuel L. Jackson.
Goofy but fun. It was still fun.
Yeah, I don't remember 3 or 4, something like that.
Yeah,
that one. Awesome. I think it was 4. That was the one with Samuel L. Jackson, right?
No, that was a previous one. This was Live Free or Die.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That was
something
the last one.
I think they did one more. They did one with his son, John McCain's son, or something. Wow. Yeah, they were in Russia
You
or
need to
something.
catch up.
Yeah,
I know. Clearly, I haven't been. I stopped after 3. I think. 3. I remember 3 only because there's a scene where they're on a payphone. It's in New York,
yeah.
and I'm watching it, and I'm like, "That's 72nd and Broadway." Like I know that intersection because in the background there's a Grace Papaya,
Okay.
which is a hot dog place. You get 2 hot dogs and a papaya juice for like $2.50, and that's my favorite place in New York.
Wow.
Like
$2.50 now?
well,
Okay, I'm just
I haven't.
asking. I mean,
I haven't. Well, last time I went in 2000 and that was 2008 somewhere. It's been a while.
inflation.
Yeah, it's
probably
probably
like $5
$3.50 now,
Yeah.
maybe 5. Still, like you
Good
could
deal.
get.
Yeah.
It's a very good deal, and like I don't care how much that costs. I literally every single time I go to New York, like I don't even go to the hotel first. I drag all my luggage to Grace Papaya, hot dogs, papaya juice,
Wow.
Cool.
sauerkraut, mustard. You got it's an experience.
I'm sure.
Got to do it.
That's very
So 12-year-old son.
Yep.
Only kid.
Only kid.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Only kid. He's got a dog. You know.
Yeah. What kind of dog?
The mud.
Okay. Rescue.
Yeah. By way of someone else, but yeah,
Mhm.
rescue for sure. Those have been the best dogs that I've had. Was the rescue or the muds. So.
You said there were some good video games. I meant to ask you. Did you ever play Reservoir Dogs? No, not Reservoir Dogs. No, Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs. Reservoir Dogs is a movie with. Yeah.
I played one of them with my son.
And as a cybersecurity expert, were you like, yeah, no.
I know I'm gonna run around with my iPhone and I'm gonna hack a car.
It's possible, right? Cybersecurity audience.
Don't
No.
click on stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't.
yeah. If you see a random flash drive, so I actually the other day I was helping somebody with a presentation, a vendor of ours, and
I started thinking about that the other day. They always show up with.
yeah. Well, no, so dude has his presentation, and I was like, yeah, I'll put it onto the computer, and I handed him a flash drive personally, and he said, I can't put that in my machine.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Oh, it's too good for my flash drive.
I mean, it's my flash drive. I'm sure it's fine. But his parent company is a cybersecurity company, and that's a rule that they have.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a really good rule. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it should. The cybersecurity measures we take should force us to make better choices. Right.
That's really what I mean. Huge part of it's about that.
Yeah.
Right. It's, we say cyber hygiene. You know, like
Hmm.
we take showers, we
Keep
brush our
clean.
teeth, and
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, we got to take care of ourselves from a tech or cyber perspective, right?
And it's important, you know, in all industries, I'm sure, but in local government especially. I mean, the types of systems the types of information systems that we run, things like that. I mean, if somebody gets a hold of them, they can cause some real damage. I mean, they could.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to impact your ability to work, your ability of the government to provide services to the citizen, right? I mean, we see that happen. Never mind the impact of, you know, now they have your name, your address, you know, what other information, you know, we may require to do business.
Right.
So, you know, I need water. So, all right, let me fill out the application. They collect whatever data, and now we have it.
And we have a responsibility to keep it.
Responsibility to keep it. And should something happen, you know, there are things we have to do to bridge that gap or correct that. So,
Crazy.
yeah.
So what's next? Like, what does the next 20 years look like? Maybe for the city or for IT or like, you know,
AI is going to start hacking just on its own.
I mean,
before it becomes
honestly,
sentient.
right, because no
Skynet.
So AI for sure, right?
Do you think AI, I mean, has a real, like, is that the new frontier, or is it just this year's buzzword?
No, I think it will become bigger, right? No, whether it becomes sentient or it becomes the Terminator, you know, whatever, I don't know. I think what you'll see is, and they probably already are, right? You're going to see the bad guys leverage it
Right.
just as much as the rest of us do.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not the Cold War, right? It's not, I mean, it's kind of like an arms race, right?
Right.
It's like, okay, the bad guy's going to do something. We have to react to it, or we have to predict what they might do and, you know, put things in place to mitigate that.
Mm-hmm.
Or even then, I mean, maybe we can't do everything. So then we weight things from a risk perspective. Like, okay, what can't I absolutely do without, right? For X amount of time, you know, okay, so these things, so we're going to defend that greater than we would something like, well, you know, there's no information there that's, you know, proprietary or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, no PII or anything like that. If that thing,
Personally identifiable information.
yeah, hey, more acronyms.
I took my cybersecurity training.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes, that. I did too. Twice. Not because I failed. I just like the thing with that. I mean, never mind the mandate and all that stuff. It's like I had to watch it before I gave it to y'all because I don't want to give y'all something crummy.
Yeah.
You know,
Which I appreciate that.
I mean, if it was bad, I would be like, I'm sorry.
I thought it was good. Personally, I mean,
It wasn't bad. I mean, I've seen much worse.
Yeah.
I think the first year we had to do it, it was with a different platform, and I remember sitting at home because COVID had just started, and I'm watching it, and I'm just like putting my head on the table. I'm like, oh my gosh, I really have to tell people to do this.
everybody, like all
Everybody.
800 employees.
Yeah, and
at
I'm
the
like,
time.
oh my gosh, can't do this.
And that's mandated by the state, right?
Correct.
Cybersecurity training.
Yeah.
So we have to do that.
Yes.
Do you think that's making a difference?
I'd like to think so. I mean, I'd like to think it's just a good reminder.
Yeah.
You know, oh yeah, you know, maybe I should stop and think for a second before I open that
We need
attachment. You know,
we need like a stop, drop, and roll, but for cybersecurity. Like stop, think, don't click on that link. Oh, did we just do it?
You close.
good.
You close the was it the FTC?
Oh, there is one.
Somebody
right?
had
Okay,
something
never mind.
like stop, think, connect. I can't remember. It was real.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like disconnect
It
would be
feels
the right.
what it feels like is another video with Paul. That's what it
Yeah.
feels like.
Yeah. Speaking of,
Yes, sir.
Yes. There is a great video on the YouTube channel.
fantastic video
Oh,
of you as a superhero,
that's pretty cool.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's like Superman, and I got quotes going, guys. So
Yeah. So we can't get sued.
yeah, that's right.
Fair
right,
use,
yeah.
fair use. How did that?
How did that come about?
Yeah, so many questions.
Man, I know, right? I'm trying to remember. It was for what hurricane awareness or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And I remember it was Mayor Reed. One of them was with him for sure, and he's like, "Don't depend on this guy to save you. You know, be prepared for the hurricane or something like that."
So you were a bad guy?
No, I was a good guy. It was 'cause,
Oh yeah.
the
Okay,
phone
yeah.
rang, and I'm on my way. Slammed it down. I think it was a rotary phone, actually. You know,
Amazing.
right?
And they did like a flying effect.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So
Yeah.
how did they do that? You
I was laying across the table,
and they
and
put a fan on you to get
they
the
did. There was a fan blowing, green screen behind me. I don't know if I actually had a cape on or not, but
I think you did.
I might
I
have.
feel like you did.
And then they're like, "Here, hold like 2 gallons of water or something." And I'm like, "Okay, no problem."
Only 8 pounds each.
I know, and I'm sitting there holding it, and I'm like, "Can you hurry up? Can you?" Because like after like 30, I'm like, "Okay, this is getting a little heavy," and I'm like, "Ugh." And you know, the funny thing was, I'm like, "Well, that was fun, you know, whatever." And so they produced it, and I'm like, "I'm gonna show my kid." And my kid's like, you know, 3 at the time or something like that. I'm like, "Look what I got! I got to be Superman," or what Superman quotes, and he bust out in tears. He's like, "I want to be Superman,"
Oh
and I'm
my
like, "Oh my
gosh.
goodness."
So
Maybe next time.
Yeah.
I made a mistake of not a mistake. I had Benjamin Starr, my oldest, in a series we did called Stump the Librarian.
Okay.
So the reference librarian, known for being able to find any piece of information. So
Yeah.
I challenged him. I just said, every random question you could possibly think of, write it down. and then he asked the librarian all those questions. And one of the questions was like, if we can be allergic to dogs, can dogs be allergic to us? You know, like really random stuff. And we did one of them. It was fun, but it was a lot. It was a lot of work. You can ask Kathleen because she edited it, and it took a long time.
I think that was right before I came on.
And to this day, he's like, "When are we going to do another one of those?" I'm like, "Sometime,
One of these days."
But he hasn't forgotten that.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we're gonna have to revive your Superman role and make a
We
kid
should
jealous.
bring that back. It's hurricane season. We could always do a
I mean,
Super Paul.
you can roll it into the next leadership thing somehow. right?
Absolutely.
That's
We're
good.
gonna make that a reality.
Yeah.
We're gonna get you a costume.
Costume.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
you
I just
wear
had like a T-shirt or something. Yeah. Right.
Hop on stage. We'll go from the video. You'll run off screen and then run on stage.
oh, that'd be so good.
He's here in person.
Superman aged. What?
Oh man. So we always like to close these with our why.
Yeah.
You know, we spend a lot of time. Have you done the why exercise?
I did a couple times.
That's good. Because we're going to ask you about it.
Where's my card?
Yeah, I understand. So, you know, you've been in the city a long time. You dedicated your career, obviously, to IT and cybersecurity and this community. So what gets you up every day? Why do you show up?
You know, having grown up in Pearland, and you know, it's still home, right?
Yeah.
I don't live in Pearland right now, but still home. Still have family here, friends. You know, in IT, we don't get to directly impact people like, say, a police officer, fire, public works, you know, people like that. But you know, the amount of tech that's in a police car, or the amount of tech that's in a fire engine, or you know, whatever, all these things, you know, we indirectly get to make the city better, so much better. I mean, it's everywhere, from water production, traffic intersections. I mean, we're there for all of that.
Yeah.
And
Nothing happens without IT.
for better or worse. Yeah. I mean, really. And, you know, I like I said, it's still home, and I want it to be the best place it can be. And, you know, I don't want you guys to click on silly stuff.
No, that's fair. I think, that's a really good, it's a really noble thing. Like, that's got to be the hardest job in the world, to get people not to click on stuff. Right. But I appreciate that. And I think I think you're right. I mean, you know, a lot of what we do, has a dotted line to IT. We don't start anything without consulting IT first, because we recognize that I mean, that guidance has to be there. That thoughtfulness has to be there. And it's funny, a lot of times we walked into fire admin yesterday, carrying AV equipment, and somebody said, "Oh, the IT guys are here." We're like,
always.
no,
always.
we're close.
Yeah.
I mean, but you know, for some reason, when they can't get an IT person, you know, we're the next ones to get the phone call, and we're like, "Did you try restarting it?"
Turn it off and
Kidding.
Yeah.
But
it's valid.
It's good advice. But you're right. I mean, it's the central nervous system of our organization. I mean, it's an essential service, just like anything else. If you can't connect a police vehicle or body cam to upload footage, right? How can you function as an organization?
I mean, not to take away from anyone else that falls in this umbrella, but I mean, to some degree, IT's first responder as well.
Yeah, sure, 100%.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we do practice this in public information. You know, system goes down, computer goes down. What are you going to do? How do you communicate with your community? Because we do have to be prepared for low tech solutions, and it is seriously disoriented. It throws a lot of people off when we go into training like that. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to do that, and I'm giving too much away here. But one of the challenges that they're going to have to face, and they don't know it yet, is your digital systems malfunction. What happens?
Yeah.
And when you're expecting it, and then it doesn't work right, it takes a minute to recognize what's happening.
Right.
And then if you're not prepared for it,
right,
what do you do next?
Right. So I
It's
don't.
a thing we take for granted. For
No,
sure.
absolutely, and I don't think this is specific to IT or cybersecurity, but we talk about business continuity.
Yeah.
And that's
Continuity of essential city services.
pretty
right?
much. And how are employees going to get paid if payroll's down?
Right.
How is dispatch? How are police going to get dispatched if dispatch was down? Things like that, right? So that's something you're going to see, coming up soon. A lot of conversations about business continuity. Because at the beginning of the conversation, we were talking about Dallas, and they had that interruption.
Right.
And I know the story was dispatch was writing things on with a pencil and a paper, right? They said, I'm sending a car to 123 Apple Street. How do I get to 123 Apple Street if I don't have a map?
Right.
So
Yeah.
things like that. So those conversations are going to be had internally pretty soon.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, keep us updated. Keep us safe.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
Appreciate all that
Stop.
y'all do, man.
Think.
Let's-
Don't click the link.
Don't. Can we
we could
We
do
can make it a
garage
can we
Garage
do
band.
that?
Yeah. Stop. Think.
There you
Don't
go.
click the link.
All right. Where's
Yeah.
I got my laptop.
There
I
you
got
go.
Fruity Loops
Fruity
loaded
Loops
up.
up.
Yeah.
This is how we're ending every episode now. Let's get this
Going.
cybersecurity.
Keep going to fit it out.
Thanks, everybody. This is fun. Paul Yates, everyone. We'll see you on the next episode of the People of Pearland podcast.